Hi, I'm Alexandra Butler.
And I'm Joe Butler, Alexandra's dad.
Alright, so I want to learn more about your side of the family and where they came from in this interview. So I'll start with the question, where did our family come from?
They originally came from England
And how would you know that?
because my uncle Freddie was very interested in genealogy, and he's done a lot of research in family history, and he's traced our family all the way back to England. That's where it came, where we started, and that one of our ancestors came over on the Mayflower from
Really?
England.
Wow. You know who that was?
Stephen Hopkins.
Sounds important.
Yep, he was a passenger on the Mayflower from England.
What happened
And he was 10th generation from my parents.
Cool. So I know Uncle Freddie did that genealogy thing. How many generations can you trace back from your parents?
10 generations.
Oh, so up to him.
Yeah. And
Mayflower guy.
The Mayflower, yeah.
So he was really important because
Yep.
he was from England and they sent that important trip.
He was born in 1581 and died in 1644.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
How'd they have records? Lots of records.
All ships have what's called manifests, where they have the list of who's on the ship. And I guess the records, some records were able to survive throughout all that long time.
So he was important to be chosen to go on the Mayflower.
I guess so.
Oh, that's why we're cool.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, okay. Can you recall any other important names, do you think?
Well, he was probably the most famous one. We've had another uncle was a captain in the Army Medical Corps during World War I.
When was that?
In 1911, 1912, something like that.
Cool.
And then we've had most of our relatives on my side of the family settled in South Georgia, around Jessup, Georgia, and they began by making a living by getting turpentine, which is a sap out of pine trees, which was a big business back then. And they used that turpentine for a lot of purposes. One was to as a sealer between the wood on the wooden ships that they made.
Ships are good.
And it's also used to, well, it was used for many things. I think a fuel also. So turpentine was real big. So there was a lot of pine trees in that area in South Georgia, and so the family settled there, and they were in that business for a long time. And then when the turpentine industry started to fade away because they didn't need it for the ships anymore, or maybe they'd come up with a replacement material, and it was kind of a tough, difficult material to work with. So when it was no longer a viable industry for making any money for a small time operator like they were, they moved up to North Carolina, around Fayetteville, Clinton area.
Yes.
And that's where the family's been for probably the last 100 years or so.
Nice.
And that's where I was born, in that area.
Cool. So besides names, do you know where some of them were born, mostly in North Carolina, or in Georgia?
Yeah, my parents were all born My parents were both born in that same area of North Carolina, Sampson County. And there, my mom's parents were born in Sampson County also. My dad's parents were born in South Georgia.
Cool. They met up. Do you have any birthdays that you can remember or have?
Well, my grandfather's birthday, my father's side was April 11th, 1895.
Dang.
Yeah.
When was the Mayflower guy born again?
He was born in 1581. Stephen Hopkins.
No, Stephen Hawking's.
No, yeah, sounds like Stephen Hopkins, but
That'd
it's
be
Hopkins.
cool. Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a hospital?
John Hopkins.
Ah.
That's a hospital
Think they're
in
related?
University in Baltimore.
Think that they're related?
No, I don't think so.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do we have any veterans in our family?
Yeah, I told you about the uncle that was in the Army Medical Corps during World War II. He was captain in the Army Medical Corps. And then my dad was in the Army also. He was in, I think it's called the CIC. It was Counterintelligence Corps, which was kind of predated the CIA, so he did some, supposedly some espionage type stuff, but I imagine he was more a paper pusher, probably just following things. I don't think he was out doing any spying.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Wait, you said someone did World War One? Who's
Yeah,
that?
that
You
was.
said World War Two.
No, it was World War One.
Okay.
I think it said World War One. 1911.
Yeah,
That's
and then you
World
said
War
someone else did World War Two.
No.
No? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we recorded, so I could go back and show you that.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me any other stories about our family besides that, like, really big one?
I had an uncle, Plato Starling, who was the only doctor in our small town where I grew up.
Wow.
And
did he do everything?
he did everything. He saw everybody in the town, and he was there practiced there for 40 or 50 years. So he was the doctor for my mother when she was born, and then he was the doctor when I was born.
He must be old.
That's dead name.
I mean, what was
And
old?
he was the doctor for all my brothers and sisters. So and it was just a small little clinic, a little small building, and wasn't very fancy, but he was just an good old country doctor.
Is it still there now?
The building's there. We rode by it a few days ago. Remember I told you? I pointed out. I said, that's where I was born. And
so what is it now?
I think it's a community development center or something. I'm not sure. But it's not a
That's cool.
clinic
Still there.
anymore because it's too small. I think might be a historic place. They had a little plaque out front there, so maybe we've got some protection
Fancy.
for it.
So fancy. Do we have any genealogical records? If so, where are they?
Yeah,
Uncle Freddie.
That's Uncle Freddie has a lot of them.
Where you got them? Where are they?
He's got them.
Where?
And then your brother Jonathan
My brother
has
Jonathan.
started getting into that sort of thing, and he's
Oh.
got a lot of records about the family now.
Like
So
what?
he just he's trying to trace the family back on both sides as far as he can go. So he's started doing it. So he hasn't done as much as he's going to, but he enjoys it.
Does he plan to do more?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which side is he like
He's
really
going to
focused
come
on?
when he comes home for Christmas. He's going to go with Uncle Greg to see some of the grave sites in Sampson County, Bladen County, and start to get some records and try to trace some people back in time.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Good.
I like this. Bye.
Bye.